Listen, I don't want any more bullshit.
Yeah, baby, what's up? Happy Thanksgiving. It's your man, Harkon Ajala. I want to welcome you Colts fans back to the one, the only, the world's official bullshit-free Colts podcast. This is the only place where you can come and get the real deal about the Indianapolis Colts and what's going down with no coach speak, no PR, no political correctness, and most of all, no bullshit. So I'm feeling good. I hope you are too, because what you just witnessed, my friends, my homies, is you just witnessed the Colts make a fucking statement. This here is what we call a statement. You just watched the Colts on national TV beat the Packers 34-31 in overtime and tell the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, the Tennessee Titans, the rest of the NFL and the fucking world, bow down, bitches. We are a force to be reckoned with. We are the real deal. That fucking game was amazing. It was nail-biting. It'll give you heart troubles. I mean, anybody that has heart problems, I would recommend not watching it. But it was a fantastic game. It's one of the biggest wins that we've seen here in Indianapolis. And, you know, just last week, the Colts had their first real signature win this year. But right on the heels of it, who knew was coming an even bigger one? Look, I talked to you guys a few weeks ago about the signal and the noise, and that the signal is the truth. The signal is reality. The signal is what's really happening. And the noise is all the bullshit, all the narratives, all the storylines, all the puff pieces, all of that shit around it that people engage in for different reasons. Sometimes it's to get attention. Sometimes it's because they're pandering to, big cities and they want to make money. But the truth of the matter is, the noise around the Colts has been, they're an okay team, but they haven't beat anybody. They got a good record, but they haven't beat anybody. Well, last Thursday, the Colts made a resounding statement on that and dumped that shit in the trash can by going down to Tennessee and thoroughly beating the Titans, shutting them down in the second half, holding them scoreless in the second half. But just in case people didn't fucking know, just in case they weren't paying attention, they made sure they put an exclamation point on the fact that that narrative is bullshit by beating the Packers and Aaron Rodgers at his most magnificent, at the height of his Hall of Fame performance. Let's not fucking get it twisted. Make no mistake about it. Aaron Rodgers is not only one of the best quarterbacks playing the game today, he's one of the best to ever do it. If you're looking at pure performance, pure ability by just the quarterback, people talk about Tom Brady as the GOAT. Tom Brady ain't better than Aaron Rodgers. Period, end of story. You put Aaron Rodgers on that New England team, fucking forget about it. They'd had 9 Super Bowls, without a doubt. Aaron Rodgers is the fucking truth. And he was at the height of his powers on Sunday, man. He did everything. That was a classic performance by Aaron Rodgers. Very seldom he's going to lose when he plays the way he played. But the Colts just fucking took care of business. And after putting up 28 points in the first half, the Colts shut them down and held Aaron Rodgers and the rest of the Packers to 3 points in the second half. And to be honest with you, that 3 points was at the very end of the game, like the second to the last play of the game. And that shouldn't have really happened. But the Colts gave up a big 47-yard pass down the middle. But again, that's Rodgers. And, the other thing is that the fucking Packers, this is the version of the Packers that the Colts beat Sunday was not the Packers you'd seen of the early part of this year. This was the Packers at full strength. The Packers had Devontae Freeman back. They had all their running backs back. Like they were healthy for the first time. I'm sorry, Devontae Adams, not Freeman. And Devontae Adams did not disappoint either. I mean, he did his damn thing. Their running backs look great. The Packers defense played inspired, to be honest with you. The Colts just fucking are a good team. And there's a lot, like this is not, you know, remember last year the Colts were 5-2, but if you were honest about it, and Chris Ballard even kind of talked about this. I mean, if you were honest about it, they were lucky as fuck to be 5-2. So when you look at the collapse that happened after going 5-2 and only winning 2 more games, we shouldn't have been all that surprised. I mean, they were barely beating teams. They barely beat the terrible Denver Broncos. They lost to Miami. They lost to the Raiders. I mean, they weren't that good. They had a lot of things fall in their place, and as Chris Ballard pointed out, I mean, their margin of victory was like 2 points. You know what I mean? They were outscoring teams by like 2 points per victory. This year, whole different ball game. They are resoundingly beating teams. Because remember, they're the teams that people are like, oh, well, those teams are terrible. Yeah, but the Colts were beating them down. They were blowing those teams out. They're coming back from 21 down against the Bengals, who have a very good offense. Hopefully, by the way, shout out to Joe Burrow. Hopefully he heals. It was really terrible to hear that he suffered an ACL, MCL tear, and is out for the rest of the season. So shout out to Joe Burrow. Hopefully he comes back fine. He looks good. Looks like a big-time quarterback for the future. But, I mean, the Colts, they weren't squeezing by. Like a lot of people talking about Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh's 10-0, and they are a very good team. They got a great defense. But here's the truth of the matter. They 10-0, but Pittsburgh, about 4 of those victories, they should have lost. They could have lost, and they probably should have lost. I mean, they barely beat Dallas. They barely beat Baltimore. They should have lost to Baltimore. Probably should have lost to Dallas. They barely beat the Titans. The Titans really should have beat them. You know, there's 3 or 4 of those victories that the Steelers should have lost. So they're a good team. I'm not taking that away from them, but I'm saying if you actually are looking and not just listening to the fucking bullshit hype or the pundits, who most of whom don't know what the fuck they're talking about, if you're actually watching and paying attention to the Colts, they've been winning soundly. They've been winning convincingly. They've been coming back from down 21 points. They were down 14 points to the Packers twice Sunday to Brett Favre and the Packers. And they came back and took care of business. Like I said, gave up 28 points in the first half. I was on Zach Kiefer's Twitter feed, you know, going back and forth with him and reading some of the people posting there, like 3, 4, 5 minutes into the game, 10 minutes into the game. So-called Colts fans were like, this team is trash. The defense is exposed. Phillip Rivers is trash. Reich is trash. Fuck this team. They're not for real. And you can go and check. I posted to Zach Kiefer's Twitter. I said, look, remember, the Titans looked really good on offense in the first half last week, too. And in the second half, not so much. Let's wait and see what happens. Sure enough, Colts come back, make the adjustments, and ball the fuck out in the second half. The defense shuts down the Packers. The Packers only ran 6 plays in the third quarter. I mean, the Colts took care of business. And we're going to get more in depth into what really happened, the parts of the Colts, why they're actually so good, shit that people nationally don't really understand or aren't paying attention to, and what I think is the prognosis for this team going forward. But before we do that, we got to jump into, as always, the good, the bad, and the ugly, baby. So, first off, the good from this past game. And I mean, look, we can kind of overlap this to the Tennessee game too. Here's the truth. The defense, as I've been telling you guys for a few weeks now, the defense of the Colts is fucking elite. Period. End of story. They are elite. They came into this game number 1 in the league, and it's for a reason. We're 10 fucking games in now. People keep saying, oh, let's wait. What the fuck are we waiting for? We're 10 games in. We're more than half of the season done. They're still number 1. They're shutting teams down. They shut down the Titans. They shut down the Packers in the second half. Now, the Titans is one thing. They held Derrick Henry to 103 yards. He got 103 yards, but he only touched the ball once in like the last 14 minutes of that game last week. And his yardage didn't hurt the Colts. But you don't believe that. You say, well, I mean, that's the Titans. Okay. You can't fucking wave away the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. And not Aaron Rodgers had an off game or he was okay. No, Aaron Rodgers was fucking on fire. Colts were just good. The defense is elite. Rivers, I don't want to hear any more shit being talked about Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is shown now. The motherfucker's balling. He still got it. And here's what I like about him. The thing I liked about him before he came here. He's a tough, fiery motherfucker. He has that attitude of a fucking winner who won't be denied. That Andrew Luck, as much as I loved him and his skill set, it's the attitude that Luck never had. If they could have taken Phillip Rivers' attitude and desire and panache and fire and poured it into Andrew Luck, well, Andrew Luck would still be playing right now. But I don't want to hear any more shit about Rivers. Because here's the thing. People got to remember, people are week to week, especially in the NFL. And because the NFL is such a week-to-week league and everybody overreacts and underreacts and all that shit week to week, people forget that the truth is still the truth. You got to remember that to the people who are like, Rivers is washed, he's trash, get him the fuck out of here, or you should have never brought him in. Remember, sometimes people say, oh, we're not using excuses. Well, there's excuses and there's also reasons. And reasons are reasons, whether you want to look at them or not. Here's the truth. You got to keep in mind that Phillip Rivers, the first time you saw him play was the first time he fucking played live with any of these guys, with any of the receivers. They didn't have a real offseason. They didn't have any preseason to get in sync, to get on the same page for them to get a groove together. So we're 10 games in. Now you're seeing what's happened. Now you're seeing what's up because he and the receivers and the linemen, the offensive linemen, everything, they're all settling into their groove. You know, they know how to block for Phillip, what he's likely to do. Phillip knows where his receivers are going to be, how they go into breaks, come out of breaks, where to place the ball. You can see that happening. So I don't want to hear any more shit about Phillip Rivers. He's good. He's good enough to win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying he's going to win it by himself, but he's definitely got what it takes. If the team around him performs to the best of their ability, yes, you can win a Super Bowl this year with Phillip Rivers. And that's all you're asking for with a quarterback, okay? Also, we got some fucking offensive weapons here we're starting to see. Nyheim Hines, they're finally using enough, and you're seeing what's happening. Michael Pittman Jr., last 2 weeks since he's come back, I see what I saw when I looked at his highlights in college. He's got it, man. And that son of a bitch, not only is he big and strong, but when he gets that ball and gets going, he is deceptively fast and a tough runner, tough instinctive runner. That 45-yard touchdown that he ran against the Packers was a thing of beauty, and his ability in the open field was on display. So I'm really looking forward to that. Jason Taylor, for the first time, really, I mean, he looked decent against, he looked much better against the Titans, but for the first time against the Packers, he ran hard. He was hitting the hole faster and more decisively, and I could see him, I could see what I was hoping would come to fruition. We got to remember, he's still a rookie. The test of who he really can be, we're going to see next year. Just like with Marlon Mack, who I still would like to see them bring back, though I don't think they will, but I still like to see them bring Marlon Mack back. But remember, Marlon Mack, you can see the flashes his first year too, but he had to learn certain things about how to run in the NFL. I see the same thing happening with Jason Taylor. He had 90 yards, 4.1 yards per carry. That's good stuff. DeMichael Harris, another guy I want to continue to see more of. He's fast. He's elusive. They used him again on a beautifully crafted end around reverse. That was a fantastic play call, by the way. So we got some weapons here, and man, we haven't even got Paris Campbell. Wait till they get Paris Campbell back. When they do, and I'd love to see that this year before the playoffs, or at least for the playoffs, but it'd be great to get him back maybe 1 or 2 games before the playoffs. But they get Paris Campbell back, they could be fucking explosive. And by the way, as you saw, T.Y. Hilton had a couple of huge plays. Let nobody forget, without the 15 yards that Hilton powered to get on that 3rd and 12, this win, man, never happened. Period. So T.Y. has not so far been the T.Y. of old, the game-breaking T.Y., but remember, he's only a couple weeks off of a groin sprain, so he's still not 100%, but he made some big, big plays. So they've got some weapons on offense now. So I'm really feeling good about them, but we do got to look at the bad. My boy Rock is in, man. Rock is tough. It's tough to get a read on, and here's why. He'll look good for whole stretches of a game, actually. He'll shut motherfuckers down for whole stretches of a game. He made a beautiful read and react and baited Aaron Rodgers, and this is not hard to do. Let me remind you, Aaron Rodgers had 2 interceptions coming into this game. 2. Aaron Rodgers seen it all, done it all. It's hard to, pick him off. Rock Ya-Sin made a great play and baited Aaron Rodgers into an interception. Beautiful play. So it's like for 80, 85, 90% of the time, he's beautiful, and then he just does stuff that just drives you crazy, especially deep. Here's the thing. I'll say this. I don't think they should have called pass interference on that play, that long play against Rock Ya-Sin. I don't think they should have called it, in all honesty. They really didn't need to call it, but I can understand why they did. Was there contact? Yeah, but it was both ways. The receiver actually initiated the contact first. They were fighting all the way down the field, really. But here's the thing. Rock Ya-Sin has got a reputation now, especially for being grabby. And that's why I think he gets penalties other guys don't get, because if the referees think they see it, they just throw the flag. Oh, yeah, this guy, he grabs all the time. He's got to, and the thing is, he was in good position. He's just got to make, I've heard Rick Venturi talk about this. He's got to remain disciplined. He was in position with the receiver. He didn't need to really grab him. But he's getting that reputation, and that's bad. So, again, Rock looks great 85 to 90% of the time. It's just those he seems to make mistakes in big moments in ways that are really hurtful to the team. So hopefully he'll get that together. Otherwise, I like him still, though. Now, the ugly in this game, I don't have to tell you. I mean, the ugly in this fucking game almost turned one of the best wins in Indianapolis Colts history into one of the worst, if not the worst, loss. I mean, the fucking holding penalties. You got to be fucking kidding me. 3 called on Quentin Nelson. Quentin, Big Q, you got to get your shit together this season, man. This should be your best season, and it's been your worst, dude. Been getting called for holding penalties. That last under 2 minutes, when the Colts should have been putting the game away, when they converted on a 4th and 4 and had a first down on the Packers side of the field, like at the Packers 29 with 1 minute and 58 seconds left, and they end up punting instead of at minimum kicking a field goal, they should have been able to just run the clock out. But they got 6 holding penalties called, and three of them were declined. The Packers declined them because they didn't want them to use up more time. How the fuck do you hold 6 times? Now look, on one hand, it's kind of ridiculous, I guess, for the referees to call that many holds. But here's the thing. I mean, when you looked at the replays, you can see why they did call them. That shit is unacceptable, and it almost cost his team the game. Aaron Rodgers got the ball back, went right down the field. Luckily, the defense clamped down and held them to, I mean, understand, let's not forget, the Packers had 1st and goal at like the 9-yard line. And the Colts defense held them to a field goal so that they only tied the game. And then, of course, overtime, we kick the ball off. They get the ball. We're like, oh, fuck. And our guy, Blackman, causes the fumble. We get the ball. And our other guy, Rodrigo Specs, kicks his first game-winning field goal. That was beautiful to see. So the holding penalties, that shit was ugly. All the penalties really were ugly. Those penalties, I mean, there were some big penalties that almost cost us the game. That PI against Yasin, I mean, all of that shit, the penalties and shit were ugly. But they got it done. At the end of the day, they got it done. And that shit bodes well for the Colts. Because here's the thing. Whether the fucking national people get it or not, the Colts are a damn good fucking football team. They are a team that can contend in the AFC. Yes, I'm saying it. Yes, I'm aware the Chiefs and the fucking Ravens and the Steelers play in the AFC. I'm not scared of any of those motherfuckers. They're all good teams. The Chiefs in particular are a fantastic team. Fantastic. But none of them scare me. And I'm telling you, the Colts can not only play with, but they can beat all of those motherfuckers. I'm not saying they will, but the Colts can beat all of them in the playoffs. The Colts are a damn good football team, top to bottom. Trust me. Like I said, the narrative may not say so nationally because people aren't paying attention, but in all 3 phases, the Colts are solid as fuck and have playmakers in all 3 phases: offense, defense, and special teams. You've seen their playmakers in special teams. They blocked punts and recovered fumbles, ran them back for touchdowns. They've run kickoffs back for touchdowns, which is very difficult to do now. The offense is beginning to click. It's beginning to hum. And now it has a bona fide ambient player in Hines. He's a guy you got to account for, you got to worry about. And I think Pittman is not far behind him. And if they get back Campbell, oh shit, I'm telling you. And the way Rivers is playing, he went fucking toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers. 288 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. The interception wasn't even his fault. He was rated at QBR 107, just like Rodgers. On the biggest stage. See, that's what I like about Rivers. It's what I liked about him even when he played for the Chargers. On the big stage, that motherfucker shows up. He shows up. Now, the defense, I don't even need to talk about. The defense is fucking loaded. The defense is fucking loaded. They got ambient players up the ass. You better believe you got to account for fucking DeForest Buckner, who's dominating. Grover Stewart is a motherfucker that I guarantee you offensive coordinators are talking about now. We don't even have to talk about the maniac who's all over the fucking place. But Bobby Okereke is making plays. Walker's making plays. The secondary, which was the fucking, the part that would drive you to drink or to fucking pray last year, is suddenly a position of strength. Xavier Rhodes is playing at Pro Bowl level. Fucking Kari Willis is playing his ass off. Julius Blackman is a Pro Bowl candidate and, a legit Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate. Should be up near the head of that conversation right now. We saw for the first time Kamiko Toure Sunday, and he immediately made an impact. had some quarterback pressures and some quarterback hits. And they didn't even have Danico Autry. The front seven is a beast. And now you got the back end. On top of all that, let's talk about coaching. I can tell you guys this. I highly doubt that Eberflus will be our defensive coordinator next year, because I feel real confident somebody's going to hire his ass away as a head coach after this season. Flus is doing his fucking thing. Not only is his scheme really good, but he's got his player. He's getting the most out of his players. He's coaching his players. He's developing his players. Bubba Ventrone on the special teams, look, you've seen it. You've seen it. Special teams is fucking balling out. Now, Reich, I've been tough on Reich, not because I don't like him, even as a coach. First off, I like the guy as a person, period. I like him as a coach, but I felt like there were some times where he was falling short. Number one, in holding guys responsible. Number two, in his play calling is up and down. But I've noticed over the last two games in particular against the Titans and the Packers, he stepped up his play calling. He's had some really good-looking, well-designed plays. He's calling some plays that are catching defenses off guard, and he's made some really good adjustments after the half the last 2 weeks. So I'm glad to see that. But there's no doubt that Reich is a leader of men. No doubt about that. No doubt about it that he's smart enough to do it. He has the football mind for it. But, hey, this is his first time as a head coach. So we have to remember that, too. I mean, taking that into account, he's doing great. And as long as he continues growing, I think we're going to be all right. His play calling in particular, though, on fourth down. Look, some people trip about him going for it on fourth down. I love that shit. That confidence of going for it on fourth down, it brings that swagger, that cockiness, and that identity that the team needs. Let me tell y'all something. I don't give a fuck that the rest of the nation may not understand or know how good the Colts are. I don't give a shit that the rest of the NFL pundits or experts might be saying, who have they beat? I've noticed them go up into power rankings. Some people got them labeled as high as 3 or 4 in the league. But none of that makes any difference. Doesn't make any difference to me. I'm watching them just like you are. And I'm telling you, they're the real fucking deal. And if they beat Tennessee on Sunday, I'm here to tell you now, they're going to win this division. They win the division. Look, however they get in, if they get into the playoffs by hook or crook, this team is going to be fucking problems for somebody. And nobody going to want to see us. I guarantee you that. So listen, if I'm wrong or you disagree on anything I said, you know how we do it here. We keep it 100% bullshit free. I'm not scared of anybody disagreeing or challenging what I say. As a matter of fact, I welcome it. That's what bosses do. That's what the Bullshit Free Colts podcast is all about. This ain't no penny ante, blow smoke up your ass shit like a lot of the so-called Colts coverage in this market. Let me know in the comments whether you agree or disagree below, and we'll have a conversation. Either way, I appreciate you being here as always. Like I said, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the fucking turkey and the football today. And I will see y'all in the next one, and that's on Sunday when we go to the Tennessee Titans ass. So, look, again, I appreciate you being here, fellow Colts fans, any Colts players, coaches, front office that are listening and watching, because I know some of y'all do. I'm going to tell you like I always tell you, let's go win another fucking Lombardi, baby. Peace.